Hey guys, Zibboyeye or just Zib is fine, and today we're looking at a movie whose studio wanted you to forget about. Today we look at sequel to the iconic film Ring, Rasen, aka The Spiral. 4 years after his original novel, Koji Suzuki continued Ring's saga with Rasen. As expected, the film of the same name follows the book. One thing special about Rasen was if you loved the first film, you didn't have to wait long for a sequel. All you had to do after the credits rolled was get a ticket and go to the next theater over. That's right, Ring and Rasen had a simultaneous release.
Ringu, Rasen, この恐怖、2本続けて見れますか?
From the coupled production, advertisement, soundtrack, and release, Ring and Rasen were like conjoined twins. However, supposedly Rasen faltered among viewers, thus the studio decided to saw it off like a tumor. 1 year later, Ring 2 would adopt its skin, masquerading as the real sequel as Rasen was buried. But did Rasen deserve the treatment it received, or was it simply overshadowed by the vast success of its predecessor? Let's find out and look at Rasen. The film follows Mitsuo Ando, a man who regrets being unable to save his son's life. At work, he performs an autopsy on his former med school classmate, Ryuji Takayama. Ryuji appeared to have died due to a heart attack, however his health contradicts this. Ando and his colleagues believe the source to be nothing more than a virus. Ryuji's girlfriend Mai tries to convince Ando that the cursed video is to blame. Later, Reiko and her son of the first film are caught in a car crash. Reiko's journal is found in the wreckage. Afterwards, Ando manages to get a hold of the tape from Yoshino, Reiko's co-worker. Watching it, Ando becomes convinced of the curse. He teams up with Mai, setting out to destroy the tapes and whatever remains of Sadako. The complaint I've seen people iterate repeatedly is that Rasen is too different from Ring, but I never saw this problem. Ando still watches the cursed tape. Like the protagonist of the last film, his life is put on a time limit. Although the reminder of time left is more passive than in Ringu. I preferred the more constant reminder of these characters' demise in Ring. It hung over your head, benefiting suspense. Although Ring did it better, Rasen still maintains this core feature of the series. Another carryover from Ring is mystery. The basis of all mysteries are questions and answers. Ring only had one question: what is the story behind the tape? Rasen amps it up a bit. Ryuji seems to be leading Ando after death, but to what? Then, when journalist Yoshino dies, we're left to ask why. Rasen had more questions, but how does its answers stack up to Ring? I had already criticized Ring's plot development in the last video. Too much exposition.
お前も聞いたことあるな。イクマ博士は静子を東京に連れ出して実験を繰り返した。超能力の実在を証明しようとしたんだ。
On the other hand, Rasen provides leads more efficiently. We see Ando solving Ryuji's puzzles. Examining Ryuji's cells, the existence of a virus is revealed. We find that Yoshino died of different symptoms, implying a new virus and curse.
死因が違う。どうなってんだ一体。
We witnessed the discovery of these developments firsthand, unlike the film's predecessor. Rasen's mystery is far more compelling than that in Ring. From the constrained lifespan of the protagonist to the mystery, Rasen ranges from similar to better than Ring. However, there are some differences that seem to be particular deal breakers for some people. One such difference is the visuals and horror of the film. Visually, Rasen's shots aren't as sharp as Ring. In fact, on occasion it could be bad, like this camera wobbling focus on this notebook. However, it's serviceable. Regarding horror, Rasen establishes its tone early on. The film starts with an autopsy of Ryuji Takayama. The movie opens with this character you've grown attached to in the last film getting their organs ripped out of them. It's harsh. I love how this movie throws you in the deep end early on. Whereas Ring relied more on atmospheric horror, Rasen relies more on shock. This could be compared to that of The Ring, but I prefer it here. This is because Rasen uses a supernatural psychological horror mix, whereas The Ring was all supernatural. In The Ring, many freakish events occur to Rachel, however, there is no other character to make the viewer question the validity of the event. Ando too will receive visions, however, suicidal, he is already mentally unstable. This led me to question how much of what Ando sees is real and how much is in his head. This instills a feeling of uncertainty that lends itself to my unease. Although it has a different take on horror than Ring, Rasen was still able to unnerve me. Another difference is Rasen's larger lean towards sci-fi than supernatural. The curse is treated like a virus, being examined on a cellular level. Characters cue science talk to speculate how it infects the viewer.
ビデオに入っていた DNA データを網膜が受け取って体内のウイルスを再構築するってことだ。
This is a very different view of the curse from Ring, but it's not inappropriate. Our protagonist is a pathologist. The scientific perspective we are presented reflects that of our protagonist. Beyond that, I appreciate how this alternate view develops the curse. Speaking of development, Rasen was able to utilize small moments in Ring and expand upon them. For example, Mai only makes a short appearance in Ring. However, in Rasen, she's a main character. Rasen also expands on her and Ryuji, showing that their relationship was based on an ability to relate to each other's uniqueness.
こうして触れると人の考えてることがわかる。私のこと分かってくれたのは高山先生だけだった。
I found Ryuji's ESP extraneous in Ring, however, Rasen makes it a huge plot point. Rasen develops this line from the first film.
それもいい。陽一を産んだのは間違いだったんだ。
Ryuji's regret is explained to be derived from the passing of his genes, his ESP, onto his child.
自分の遺伝子をこの世界に残したことを後悔してるって。
I like how Rasen was able to expand upon these small or even flawed elements of the first film. I found many of the differences in Rasen inconsequential. Beyond that, in the case of its mystery, Rasen proves itself superior to the first film. Because of this, I don't think Rasen is too different from Ring at all. Now that I've looked at the bulk of the film, let's get into the ending. By the end of the film, Mai goes missing, while Ando finds himself having survived past the 7 days. His coworker Miyashita seems to be falling to the same symptoms as Yoshino. The only common connection is that they both read Reiko's journal. I like this new curse. It enlarges the range of danger as well as holds true to the original curse by being passed on through a method of recording. Ando, recalling his experiences with Mai, realizes the way he and others can avert the curse is to have sex. Mai is found dead, having just given birth. The child? Sadako in a complete copy of Mai's body.
私はビデオテープに自分の DNA データを念写したのよ。それがあなたの体から前の中に入り込んだの。前の子宮に私は生まれることができたんだよ。
This is where I think Rasen loses people. The tape passes on Sadako's DNA to the viewer, that is then replicated in the viewer's cells who, if have sex, will result in a fully grown human with a bit of Sadako in them? It is really confusing, much more than a VHS tape that kills you 7 days after you watch it. Oh, and by the way, copy it and show it to someone to live. I think this is a part of what puts off viewers, but I actually like the absurd complexity. I admit there are portions that are too much though. For example, Sadako can minimize the birth process and speed up hormones to age up a clone baby to their age prior to death. All we had established was that Sadako's DNA is replicated in the tape's viewer. It doesn't support this ability of reborn Sadako. To pull this out in the third act is too much to swallow. Despite those issues, I love Sadako in this film. Rasen presents Sadako counter to the first movie. The film doesn't shy away from showing her face. In fact, there are no scenes where she wears her iconic face-covering hair. I had critiqued this in The Ring for mitigating the curse's monstrous appearance, but I believe it to be more appropriate in Rasen. In Ring, Sadako is a device. She is the monster that exists to kill the character when their time runs out. Hence why obscuring any human qualities is essential to accentuate fear. However, in Rasen, Sadako is a character. She has character traits. She is calculated and planning.
あの人の細胞はまだ病院に残っている。私の子宮を使えばできる。
She is manipulative.
ほら。そうすればあなたの望みも叶えられる。
She has a motive.
ただ私はみんなに伝えたかったの。私がずっと味わってきた恐怖。
Her function in this film is different than that of the first movie, thus her appearance reflects such. Sadako is not just a monster, she has a want, she has a personality, she is a character in this film. I find this fitting to the theme of Ring. People like Reiko were willing to use the tape to kill. The murder she attempted was motivated by placing the life of those she cared about, Yoichi, over others. She was just a person who could kill. And that's all Sadako is, a person who kills. I appreciate that this film fleshed out Sadako. I liked learning about her motives, and her detestable traits make her a formidable antagonist of the film. Sadako offers an exchange, the rebirth of Ando's late son for the rebirth of her now follower Ryuji. Ando concedes, injecting Sadako's ovum with Ryuji's DNA. It is revealed that this is what Ryuji wanted. He has been leading Ando up to this point. This is something I'm still confused on. On the one hand, Ryuji may have been distorted by Sadako. This is what happened to Tomoko.
そうなのね。どうして？
ともちゃんが見ろって
ともちゃんが。
もう智子じゃない。
Right after Ryuji dies, we see his spirit direct Reiko to the tape, causing her to spread the curse. So already Ryuji could have been assisting Sadako, or Ryuji could have been directing Reiko how to save her son.
浅川さんのために助けようとしてた。助かる方法を探してたんです。
But if Ryuji were only under Sadako's thumb after death, why would he write and ingest this code leading to Sadako's rebirth? He's not unlike Sadako, he knows what it's like to be different. Could this have led to identifying with her? It's something I enjoy thinking about, but I can't tell if the ambiguity is intentional or if it's just a vague plot point. At the closing scene, Ando is reunited with his now reborn son. Ryuji reveals that Reiko's journal will be published, spreading Sadako's curse and DNA further.
いろんな奴が読むだろう。そして貞子の味わった恐怖が広がっていくんだ。この世界に。
I really love this ending. It follows the theme Ring ended on, selfishness, a person's willingness to sacrifice others for the sake of saving those they love. And Ando's act exceeds that of the first film. Thousands upon thousands of human lives are sacrificed just so he could get his son back. It's a really effective, tragic ending. His face here says it all.
今度は大事にしてくれよ。あいつは俺の兄弟だ。
Regret. He's the cause of the destruction of humanity, yet this isn't the past he had hoped to recapture. This leads to my favorite thing about Rasen, the question it poses. A recurring motif of the film is DNA.
DNA の組み換えってやつですね。本当は人間だってその気になったら作れちゃうんでしょ。
Ryuji resented being treated as abnormal due to his ESP. He rues passing these genes on to Yoichi.
自分の遺伝子をこの世界に残したことを後悔してるって。
Ikuma, Sadako's father, regrets his child being born as well.
この世に生まれてきちゃいけなかったんだ。
These characters treat their child's birth as if they had given them a permanent sentence, as if their genes spelled out their future. This questions the existence of fate. However, Mai refutes this idea.
自分に何が起こるかなんてわからない。高山先生も私もそんなの誰にもわからない。
After all, Ando had a choice. He could have declined Sadako's offer in order to save humanity. The world isn't destroyed by the abnormal genes of Sadako or Ryuji. Instead, it's because of a single, normal man who plunged the world into darkness, not because of any genetic distinction, but because he chose to satiate his own past regret. However, Ryuji was able to predict Ando's life. Up to the very last second, Ryuji could foresee the choice Ando would make. Everything seemed apparent to him. What if he could see the future? There was no real choice for Ando and the world is just a victim of fate. Did Ryuji get lucky? Could he only see one of the possible outcomes and it was still up to Ando? Or could he see the one and only future? It makes me question the impact of autonomy against the possibility of a set path in life. It's a dark question that intrigues me, and for that reason, I enjoyed Rasen. On the surface, Rasen may look like a different beast, but its science fiction presentation serves for the basis of its strong theme. Inside, it's unabashedly Ring. But can the same be said for the sequel that sought to replace Rasen? Well, we'll find out next time. I've been Zibboyeye, and thank you for watching. Zibbo, bye bye!